Hello and welcome along to Mondo Chelloveck movies. My name is John, and this video is going to be a review of the 4K of The Exorcist. Now, this movie needs no introduction. It is an absolute classic. This has just been released this week, and I will be putting screenshots and comparisons onto this previous Blu-ray. So, went to HMV, picked this up for a great price, $19.99. I think that is a spectacular price for this movie. Now, in this set, you do get this amazing slipcover. Now, for me, this is the iconic slipcover. I think there's no finer art you can put on this movie than this cover, in my opinion. So, you've got the slip. The best thing about this movie is, though, you get the 4K, and for 1999, you get the 4K of the original theatrical cut, the original director's cut in 4K. It's both on separate discs, which is great. And also you get two Blu-rays. You get the theatrical cut and also the extended director's cut on Blu-ray. So the good news about this set is all the extras from here are ported over to here on the Blu-rays. Now, even though the disc art is different on the Blu-rays to this Blu-rays, it is exactly the same version you're getting on here. It's just got a different artwork on. Well, it's got no artwork on here. It's got some artwork on here. So really, you can disperse with this one if you want. I'm going to keep this one because I just like this cover so much. I think this is a great addition. So it'll still sit on my shelves. But if you're thinking, is it one of those ones where you've got to keep them? You don't have to keep this one because everything on here has been ported over. And it's, I'd say, a great price. There are some special editions of this set available, also a steelbook. So there's plenty of options to go for. For me, I've just went for the standard one because, like I say, I like this artwork so much. And this 100th year banner up here doesn't actually get in the way too much of this movie. I think this cover looks absolutely brilliant. So on here, you do get, I will be putting screenshots on this movie. You do get Dolby Atmos on here, which is different to here. This is just 5.1, saying 5.1, still sounds great. I haven't watched this set yet, but the Dolby Atmos soundtrack really stands out. And before I get into what I think of this picture quality, I also picked up yesterday Sleepy Hollow on 4K. Now, I was watching Euphoria pictures and I saw that Keith had picked this up. I've always wanted to get myself a copy of this movie, but I've also heard really bad things about the transfer. So I was so glad to hear what Keith had to say. What I'm going to do is, rather than talk about it on here, I will leave a link down to that video down below. Please check it out. So obviously, like most horror fans, I'm a big fan of The Exorcist. I think this movie is a spectacular movie. I think it's kind of like a realistic movie. You don't have to, well, obviously it's based in sort of fantasy, but it seems so believable. It's done in a way that it comes across that this could actually happen. It doesn't seem like a documentary, but it seems so serious that you kind of really believe what's going on. And that's part of the magic of this movie because it's so believable. It makes it more frightening for me. I didn't see this movie on release. I couldn't get my hands on it, but it was one of those ones I saw quite late. But every time I've seen it, I've really enjoyed it. I bought this movie quite a few times over the years, like I imagine everybody else has. But I think that this one is a definitive one. So I was really interested in putting this on, put it on, and my God, what a transfer. For me, this film looks really vibrant and sharp. So the screenshots I'm going to put up comparing the Blu-ray to the 4K, do know that the Blu-ray in here is the same as this Blu-ray. And you will see that this Blu-ray, I can't take anything away from it, is a really solid release. It's got a great soundtrack and it's got a great picture. It always has done. I think The Exorcist always seems to be quite cold. It seems to be quite a movie of autumn for me. And I like it that way. It doesn't look particularly warm. This movie here looks colourful and vibrant, but it doesn't look as if they're taking away that coldness from the picture, if that makes any sense. So you see the Blu-ray and the 4K, which were both taken from my phone last night. So of course the 4K has HDR, and I've got to say the colours on here look absolutely amazing. Like I said previously, this movie has always looked really good on every format I've had it on, which is quite a rarity because, you know, the VHS ones sometimes look really ropey, but the VHS on here has looked really good. So every release I've had, DVD, I've had them all, DVD, Blu-ray, and 4K, have always looked amazing. The prints on every release has always been spotless as well. So this movie for me seems to be the pinnacle of this movie. I cannot see this movie looking any better. I cannot see this movie sounding any better. Sounds incredible. Can't wait to sit in a darkened room and watch this with the lights off. And I do think this movie is a scary movie. I think that this movie catches quite a few people out. I think that the way they did it in 1973, it shocked everybody. But I don't think that shock factor is there anymore, sadly. And I think this movie has been exploited and done to death. There's been that many sequels, there's been that many copies of it. And of course, our good old friends in the Italian market will get a subgenre just for that. Now, this one here, this movie, Lisa and the Devil, there's an alternative version on here called House of Exorcism. Now, what Mario Bava did, and I don't think he was too keen on it, but he did it. He went and had this movie recut and added more scenes in it to sort of make it a kind of a bit of an Exorcist rip-off. And it's quite laughable actually because this movie is a good movie, but the House of Exorcism cut is just that little bit like kind of weird because it's just basically there's a lot of swearing in here and there's a lot of bad sort of stuff in it. This one just tries to outtop it. And I don't think it works particularly well, but as a sort of comedic side note to The Exorcist, it's quite funny. So if you can find this movie at all, do check it out, especially for that alternative cut. But to recap, I am really pleased with this. I'm so glad that it's come out. I'm so glad that it's £19.99. I've got this. That's it. That's done. I think that a lot of times when you're collecting stuff, you always want it to have put a movie to bed. You want to say, right, I've got the best version ever, picture wise for me, and probably sound. And then you just say, right, I can move on. I can, challenge myself with another title. And I just think that this is the one that I've kind of finished on, this 4K. It's great to actually get one like that because sometimes you'll get a 4K and you think, well, that could have been done better. But for me, this has been done really well. And I think that it's going to be one of those ones that's going to be maybe on the top of a few people's lists because this is a solid transfer, as only The Exorcist should have. It shouldn't have a substandard one, which actually, if I'm talking, I've said it before, it's never had a bad release, which is quite a good thing because that's not what you want to talk about with The Exorcist to say, oh, this is out, but it's wrong, it's this, and the aspects all over the place, or just some it's not being done right. But Warners have done a great version on here. So really happy to pick this up on 4K. And also on here, you do get the previous Blu-rays on here. And when you watch them compared to the 4Ks, you realize how much of a big jump that is. So, thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out Keith's review. You take care, and I'll see you on the next video. Cheers.